Hey, we're going to be starting here in just a couple minutes. So, just want to remind you as you guys get onto the program here that if you see my screen and you hear my voice, this is good. So, I think you have to go into questions and just type in yes. If you see the screen really well and you hear my voice, if you don't mind typing in yes, then I know that we are on together. So, very important. Okay, good. Thank you, Deepak. Appreciate that. All right, as you guys get on, I'm just curious to see if you don't mind just putting your state where you're from, because we're going to talk a little bit about market condition. So if you can, as you come in, again, some of you are going to be listening to this as recording. It's always interesting that the people that sign up, usually about half of the people show up that actually sign up. So just so people know where you are, just as you come in, I'll remind you to just put the state that you're from, and we're going to start in just a second here. All right, everybody, this is Bill Crespo. Thanks for being on this webinar with me, the Market Shift Insurance Policy. I've taken a lot of time to study what's happening with the market with my clients around the country, giving me feedback, reading, and really trying to decipher what's going on. I just want to remind you as you come into this program with me, and again, I've got a lot of people signed up. Everybody's doing different things. They'll probably, some of them will get the recording later. The ones who actually are on will get the recording. If you stick it out with me, if you stick it out, I'm going to give you, some of you may have this already. If you do, I can give you something else, but you'll get this link to get the shocking truth about prospecting, because I think this is going to be a key to surviving right now in what's happening with the changes that are going on around the country. So I like participation. I like to know that I'm answering your questions. So there's not a dumb question. So stick with me. Let's get going on what we need to do here to have an insurance policy on the present market condition. So the big question is in your business, so that you know what the next step is. First thing I think you really need to do right now is know where you are with your business. Where are you right now? Are you, things growing? Are things kind of stagnant? Where are you right now in your business? And thanks for those who've just jumped on, and hopefully you'll get the recording on this, and anything you missed, you'll be able to get. So without knowing where you are right now, it's really hard to know where you want to go. So I want to go into understanding what the steps are to get out of where you are to where you want to go. But I know that in these market shifts that take place, and I've been in the business, and for those of you that know me, I've been a national coach for about 20 years. I've been coaching people all over the country. I've been in real estate for 33 years. I can't believe that this year was the 33rd year being in the business, and done bad, terrible things. Was made mistakes. Was able to survive, top producer, had a team, had a company, and probably did everything that you could possibly imagine in the 33 years. So, but I could tell you that to survive, number one thing that to do, you have to understand one thing, not only where you are, but you also have to understand, where is your mindset? Where is your head right now? Because your head could be in the sand. Your head could be believing a lot of the negativity that may be out there. But I believe that if you control what you're thinking right now, you're going to survive this thing. And it's, here's what's interesting. If anybody's been in the business longer than 10 years, there's a thing called a normal market. And if anything, my opinion is, as you look at all the research, and I know there's research companies out there, and everybody has all these statistics and stuff, but we're still salespeople that have to go out there and talk to an individual prospect, either find more of them or convince the ones that we have that things have to change, right? So we got to figure this thing out. And so by understanding what's really happening, you can control how you're thinking. And it's very important. You control the information that's coming at you. But here's what I understand, that you're in one of three phases of your business right now. And for those of you who really want to understand what to do, I mean, you could take some notes. I highly recommend taking some notes. But you're in one of three stages. The first stage of a real estate sales business, when you're first starting, it may take you 2 to 5 years. You may have restarted your business and trying to regroup. So you're going to be, step one is in the what I call the takeoff stage. You're taking off, right? Just like a plane taking off, right? The plane is taking off. You're now moving into a new career, or you decided you want to have a team. So you're now taking off into that aspect of your business. That could be something. Or you decided to go into another direction inside of real estate. And we know that if we take the plane analogy, you have taking off. And I'll ask you, and some of you that understand this, that when is there most stress on an airplane? Right? Where is the most stress that happens on the fuselage? Does anybody want to type that in? Very easy, not that hard. Anybody know? Is it in takeoff? All right. Everybody's a little shy today, but that's okay. I'll pull it out of you. Well, takeoff, there's a lot of stress, right? You're starting something new. There's a lot of stress. Right. Thanks, Renato. When taking off. Right. So what happens is we take off. We're at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years into business. All of a sudden, things start to go into this leveling off, which we'll call in flight. So right now, you're either taking off or in flight. And in flight is where your business is less stressful, right? You've got an automatic pilot. If you have a team, everything's working well. You got your systems in place. You have your lead generation systems taking place. When you're taking off in this scenario, you don't have that. You are now putting things into place. So in flight, everything's cool, right? You're just less stress on the fuselage, less stress on the system. You're taking time off. Everything's going well. The other side of the business, and Renato got it right. The other stress is, let's just say you've been in the business long enough, and now you're saying, you know what, I think I want to sell the business. I think I want to, get rid of it, sell it off, get a partner, whatever. Now you're in what we call the landing phase, which again brings you stress because you got to figure this thing out. Sometimes when you're landing, you actually don't land. You actually just give away the business because you don't have a real good plan. Okay. Now, I'm going to describe to you today where you need to be in today's market. And I'm going to give it to you straight. And those of you that know me, I'm pretty much a straight talker. I don't like to mince words. I want to give it to you straight. It's amazing. Interesting to hear, with all due respect to the other coaches and trainers around the country who haven't been around as long, all trying to figure out, and it's interesting to see the different comments and things that go on. But I want you to understand that if you're in a landing phase, then you got to figure out how to bring in the partners, how to sell your business over the next couple years. Now, here's what I want to understand. Right now, can you see the evidence of what's happening? We just had someone from Chicago put in there, hey, properties are, more properties are coming on the market. There's, we got low inventory though, and it's still the same stuff. So we're seeing evidence. And low inventory is good, but what is the new evidence? I mean, this has been going for some time. What is the evidence of a shift? Because low inventory, multiple offers is pretty much what's happened in several years already. So that's kind of like what that has been. But what are some of the changes that you see right now that's taking place? Anybody? Higher interest rates. Thank you. Yeah. Higher interest rates, no doubt about it. I mean, they're fluctuating back and forth. You know they're going to go up. You're seeing that. There's some other evidences, and I want to suggest that you pick up this article. And I want, for those of you who are I gave a little bit of this information out to my clients that I coach because I want to keep everybody up to date on what's going on with the market so they can adjust. But I want you to look up this article and use it as a tool for clients out there, because I think it's going to be important for you to understand and read it. This was done on July 26th. Now, I don't mean to, this is not a scare tactic. This is for you to have evidence. Why? Because you need to show your buyers and sellers what is exactly coming around the bend. Because every market right now has seen a little bit of an adjustment, a little bit of a pullback. Now, in the last week, I've seen that people have said, hey, things are picking up a little bit, which is great. That's beautiful. Okay, that's great. But this article has a lot of great information, and it's multiple sources. So it's not just they've pulled multiple sources. So in that, you can make several copies of this and provide it to your people so they make decisions now, not later. So this is part of how to start to create your presentation early and what's happening and what's coming around the corner. So if you're prepared, that's great. You don't have to worry. But it's a great article. Just to read a couple things. And I had a client of mine tell me that some of the statistics are even worse in some cases. It says here, the U.S. housing market, particularly in the cutthroat areas like Seattle, Silicon Valley, and in Austin, Texas, appears to be headed for the broadest slowdown in years. Buyers are getting squeezed by rising mortgage rates and by prices climbing about twice as fast as incomes, and there's only so far that can reach or that can stretch. Okay. And it talked about other data, and I think that the current data actually shows it to be a little bit more challenging right now. Because I talked to my clients in Seattle, and they actually said, hey, it's not what they said. There's actually a little bit worse that's going on right now. I said, okay, great. I mean, great that you have that information. You need to know how to communicate to your clients right now what is really happening. Because if you don't have evidence like this or anything similar to this to show them, they don't always believe you, right? So you've got to have it with you. And here's what I think is really happening also, because if you've been in the business long enough, you know that, and some of you, if you've been in the business less than, let's see here, less than 8 years, maybe less than 10 years, here's something that you've never seen before. You don't know about it, you've heard about it, you read about it, but you really didn't ever see this happening. And I think what's going to happen is this. You're going to see the market become a normal market. Now, this guy doesn't look normal, I know, but you know what I'm saying. Okay? You see all kinds of things going on. But it's going to go to a normal market. And what is a normal market? Every geographic location around the United States has a different normal market. I could tell you in my market what a normal market is. You know, I have a team now in Virginia Beach, besides coaching and teaching my power prospecting workshop around the country, is giving me some real clear understanding, because I'm prospecting now, helping to get my listing inventory up. And I'm out there right now, talking to people, getting rejected just like everybody else, and talking and listing a lot of for sale by owners. But a normal market, when there is a normal market, means that houses don't come off the market that quickly, unless it's a huge giveaway situation. You're going to have a normal cycle. So what do you see? You see, probably in most cases, compared to right now, you're going to see something like a longer days on market scenario. Okay, it's just, you got to prepare your sellers. Longer days on market. So in my marketplace, a normal market means houses were selling within 60 to 90 days. A $1 million house, over $1 million, let's say 800-900 million plus, took probably, it could take 6 to 9 to 12 months, which you have to adjust accordingly. But I can tell you right now, if right now you believe that nothing's changing, you're going to be lost. And here's what's really cool about everything. Let's just say it doesn't change. Anything we talk about today in the next, I don't know, 45 minutes or so, is still going to be good. It will help you. But you're going to see longer days on market. So you have to, these are what we call, I want you to write this down, key performance indicators, KPIs. What are your KPIs for your market? What are your key performance indicators? So one is looking at days on market, and that may change in subdivisions, because not every market is the same, right? So it may be subdivisions. It may be that your whole entire area. I know because I've coached all over, so I know that it's a little bit different everywhere. But I can tell you one key performance indicator is that. The other thing is that you're going to start to see inventory starts to increase. Don't forget, if you have any questions at all, feel free to type it on in, okay? So what happens is you have larger inventory. So watch that closely. Watch it very closely, right? Because you've got to know what's happening. So we're watching this and we're watching this. What's interesting that I think also is that there's going to be a fallout here. The people that are not watching those key performance indicators, or it's going to be very interesting. I'm talking about real estate agents, your competition, because what's going to happen is that they haven't seen what's really happened. They're not really watching it. They're not prepared. They're not pricing right. Because in my opinion, if there is an increase of inventory in your area and you start to see days on market increase, that you really cannot go back to your last comps because that was a month ago, which was a different market. So now you're hedging the price. And in my opinion, based on the years that I put in, that when you see a market change, and I want you to write this down, that you're either going to adjust your price by 3%, 5%, or 10% to get any real movement of your properties. So 3% if things are just not moving that much, but you want to be ahead of the curve, 3%. If it's a deeper change in market, you're seeing really strong evidence, then you got to go 5. And if it's really, really deep and you start seeing things, you're going to have to reduce your CMA once you do it by 10% to be ahead of any declining curve. 3, 5, or 10. It's just a good rule of thumb, because if someone says to you, well, can we just reduce it by $1,000? You know what, Mr. So I'd rather not do anything until you're ready to make the right decision on the adjustment on your house, so that we can be ahead of any declining curve that's taking place. And I just showed you the evidence, so I really would like for you to wait until you're ready. Now you're pulled it away, because I'm telling you right now, here's what's going to happen. I mark my words, that your competition is not going to know about it, and little by little, they're not going to make their adjustments. It's going to be a ghost town. They're not going to be in the business. They'll be out of the business because they haven't adjusted. If you have a big team, if you haven't trained your team about what's going on, they start leaving. They start going, they start looking for new scripts. How about this one? Would you like some donuts with your coffee? I know it's kind of bad, but you know what I'm saying. They start looking at other jobs. Instead of making the adjustments, they make the adjustments really either too late, or they don't want to, or they don't want to increase their skill sets. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, about what kind of skills you need to have in this marketplace to ensure that you don't fall prey to this and it's ghost town for you, and you become one of these people in this desolate desert of nothing going on. So here's what I'm thinking. Based on the market right now, because there's an adjustment, we're now going to have to take off. So even if you don't want to retire out of your business right now, we're going to have to put a little more stress into your business, unfortunately, right? Just like the plane. So if you are in takeoff mode right now, then you're still good. We're going to put that same kind of stress on the fuselage. But if you're in the flight mode, leveled off, we now have to go a little bit higher, and we're going to have to climb. We're going to have to climb, which means adjusting to another height in your business, which is, I'll show you what those are in just a little bit. Because anybody that stays in a flight level with either retiring or climbing, they're going to get stuck too. They're going to get stuck. So my question to you is, if you are aware of things that are going on and you have a very good concept of the present market condition in your marketplace and other people don't, you got to be very careful. And again, I don't know if you can hear the jets flying, but they fly really low from my office. So then you've got to be really careful on one thing, is who are you following? Because sometimes the group is going in the wrong direction. And all the goldfish, they're all going down that, hey, everything's still fine, everything no problem. Let's do more of something that makes no sense. And here you are going, no, 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 I heard this. I'm the bluefish. I'm going in a whole different direction because of the evidence that you have. You're prepared, guys. We're in a point in the year that if you make the right adjustments now, you're going to be fine. But you're going to have to do a big thing. And that big thing is that you got to make a decision. Got to make the decision of what you're going to do. Because if you don't, you'll be like everybody else. Do I change, or do I, it's like, let me spend more money. No, I don't want you to spend more money in the wrong things. Some of you guys already know me. I'm pretty straight. I think it's all in technique and skill and mindset, things that you already have. And I always said in all my classes that I've taught around the country that there are three main tools that you need to have, and you got them all. You have them right now. It's your brain, your mouth, and your ears. You've got it. But you got to make the decision to enhance those to the next level, because you may be saying the wrong things. If a seller does not want to adjust their price down by 3%, but the CMA say it's much higher and your market is adjusting, it's your skill set in that communication. So we talk about, well, why do we have to make that decision? Well, in my opinion, again, that's why you're here listening to me, and I appreciate you guys being on, and those of you that are listening later, is that everybody has a different reason why they need to make those adjustments now. But if they don't, and the evidence is there, your business is going to do this. It's going to have a crash landing. And I remember when in between 2006 to 8, and I was working for a coaching company at the time as a coach nationally. And we're telling the audience and we're telling each individual client that there are 5 things that were going on, the perfect storm, 5 of these perfect items. And then it was worse than what we even thought when we gave it to the clients. But I am so passionate right now to making sure my clients and the people that are listening to me understand that you're in sales and you're going to have to adjust. And so I don't see those 5 perfect storm things happening right now, but you're going to have to do something, or you're going to crash land your business. You have less inventory, and I know a bunch of you may have less inventory. That means we got to dig harder. And I'm going to show you what you need to be doing to increase your inventory. I'm going to talk to you about the insurance policy that you got to have. But the other people that are not doing this are going to have their hands up in the water going, help. They're not going to be able to survive. Now, I just watch this, guys. What's going to happen? You're going to have a lot of companies selling products to you. And a bunch of people go to buy them because it's starting right now. Different things that you've got to put your money into to give you more of something that you're not doing for yourself, but thinking this would be the easy route. Not when these shifts take place. Not when these shifts take place. I mean, you could buy something later on, no doubt about it. I think some of these products are great, but that's not the answer in a market shift. So be very careful, because all you're doing is spending money, and you got to find out when we're in fourth quarter that you spent way too much. You got to be really, really, really careful. Really careful. All right. So first of all, just to get participation and understand, so far what I've said to you, does that make sense? Yes or no? Just make sure that we're together on the stuff, because sometimes I just wonder when I say something, what happens to people's brains. So does this make sense so far? What I've said to you about the market and what needs to be done? Just give me a yes, maybe, no, whatever. Okay, thanks, Ronaldo. Appreciate that. Anybody else besides Ronaldo agreeing with me? Type it in. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. No one else agrees. So I guess it's only one person out of everybody else. So I'll wait. I need to hear from one more person before I go, just to make sure that we are talking about the right thing for you right now. Type it on in. We got a lot. Participation is great. Let me just say that by you not participating makes me worried about you. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Kat. Appreciate it. I always can count on you. Okay, good. All right. She pulled it in. All right, so watch. Now we want to survive this marketplace. A couple things. The disease that most real estate people have is a lack of something. And it's very common in all the people that I've coached. Some of you I've coached know this. It's a lack of consistency in doing something, right? A little ahead of myself. Got to be consistent. We cannot not be consistent from the time you hear my voice, which is today, till the end of the year, to probably January and February. We need to be consistent in our focus, consistent on our changes that we're making, and don't just try it. I love these people that go, well, I tried it for a little bit and it just wasn't me and I stopped. And believe me, everything I'm telling you, I've done before. So I'm just as guilty in my past doing these things, and I know how much it hurts. I want you to survive, but you got to stick with it, because all of a sudden what's going to happen to you, your little brain is going to tell you, this is not fun. I want to get out. I'll give you a little story. So I sprained my ankle. I don't even know how I sprained anyway, my ankle's swollen. So my daughter's a gymnast, right? So she's, of course, knows everything about how to fix your ankle. She's going to level 10 right now. So she's full-time, 35 hours in the gym. She, she went to Peru last year. I mean, she's in it. So, of course, they bring out a bucket of cold ice. And Dad, you got to ice your foot. I go, well, do I have to put my whole foot in the ice? Yes. Okay. So now, if you've never done that before, it's amazing, like amazingly hurting. So I put my foot in there in a bucket of ice and water. And they said, you have to hold it there for 15 minutes. In the first 2 minutes, I want to pull it out because it hurt. It hurt. So what I had to do is fight through the pain. I had to fight through it. I was like, oh man, can I just get out? No, Dad, you've got to keep it in there because your ankle is swollen. I had to be consistent. It was very hard because all I wanted to do is fight through. Can I take it out? No, 15 minutes. What time is it? 10 minutes. You've got 5 more minutes. That's just a little small example, but you've got to fight through your voice telling you to pull out of what you're doing. There's got to be a better way. We are the industry with more distractions to your business than any industry in the history of business. There's a new CRM coming out every week. There's a new product coming out every week. And then you're going, what is the right thing to do? Oh, this guy did it really well. He put his T-shirt on the outside of his shirt, wore his underwear on the outside of his pants, and got 10 listings. I'll do that. It doesn't even make sense, guys. Be consistent. There's some basic principles to selling that you got to fight through and not pull out. And then the question is, when do you have to start? When you got to start? You better start right now. Whatever time it is in your marketplace, Pacific, Eastern, Central, I want you to start today. I don't want you to start tomorrow, because that's a problem. You're always putting things off. Procrastination, inconsistency, that's all part of this business. And that's what's eating us up. You will win in the market shift if you apply yourself differently, because your competition right now, in most cases, that you have an opportunity as a new agent to go at it and capture business from experienced agents. As an experienced agent, you have an opportunity to capture business from other experienced agents also, other market share, because some of them are clueless. They're hiding behind their computer, hanging out, just doing little things. So we got to get better at this. We got to get better at this. Let me see what somebody said here. Ronaldo was talking about the foreclosure market. Here's something fascinating I just want to share with you, which it's coming on around the market a little bit more. These foreclosures on reverse mortgages. You know, those ones that are never bad, that they advertise on TV, these poor people that end up passing away, the house has come on the market. They're foreclosing on reverse mortgages now. Not on a big number, but I quote me on here, I believe you'll see more of that as prices change. Because if you read the article, as it said, that the income hasn't risen fast enough to the prices. And I also want you to understand is that you need to be listening to some of these business channels. You can listen to one of them, two of them, three of them, whatever, get a little bit of information and get yourself involved with what's really happening economically around the world and in the United States, so that you know how to articulate what's happening and assess it yourself. Because what's going to happen is you're going to figure out, gosh, I got all these things I got to do. What is the right thing for me to do? What is the right thing for me to do right now? Because I hear what Bill's saying, and then I got this guy calling me up telling me whatever, and then I go to my office and everybody's acting like everything's cool, and then there's no one really wanting to do the volume I want to do. I want you to do a lot more volume. I want you to do a lot more volume. And so what we've got to do that, to get you to take off so that you get past the takeoff stage and level out at some level, here's what you got to do. Drum roll, please. That's Spain. Sorry, I'm not good at drumming. Actually, I am good at drumming. So watch. We got to get back to basics, right? You've heard it before. Listen, it doesn't cost a lot of money to get back to basics. It does not cost a lot of money to get back to basics. Basics means discipline. Basics means getting back to things that you stopped doing when the market was good. I've got to do it. I'm not telling you something that I'm not sitting here on my laurel just to say, hey, I'm going to do a webinar and that's it. No, I've got to do the same thing you guys are doing if I want my team to be winning in my marketplace, Virginia Beach. So my skill level has to go. For my clients that I coach, I got to get back to some basic fundamentals to get right into the heads of my clients and make sure that I penetrate their skull enough to make sure they understand of all the little things they've got to do for themselves and for their team if they have a team. So they don't get caught up in the trap. So you get back to basics. And then the question sometimes is, okay, I get that, Bill, but then, how do I do it? So we got to have a plan on how we're going to do it. Because if you think you can get through this without going back to basics, I think you're a little nutty, but love you, but you're not thinking right. And then if you're not really looking on what things you need right now that's going to help you. And we have to have some sort of target. You got to know what you want to hit by the end of the year. Because if you want to have a great Christmas and you want to make sure that you get through November and December, and you know how January gets kind of funky, unless you live in Florida where the market starts to pick up in the winter. So in order to ride through fourth quarter and the beginning of the new year, now is the time to put it all together and to do what needs to be done to have the target, to have the plan, and to make the right changes. Or else you could be left behind. Oh, Bill, you're scaring me. I'm just listen, I didn't scare the people enough when the recession hit. And I don't think it's going to be that bad because I think we're getting to a normal market. But I believe as a coach, I should have been more on top of my clients. So now I don't want to miss the opportunity with people that I'm talking to because no one knew it was going to be that deep. Houses were going down in value probably by 1% a day. So in 1 month, a house in California went down 30%. By the end of the month, it went down 50%. I had to take people off the ledge. What do I do? We've learned a great lesson. So I'm not here trying to scare you. I just want you to get prepared. What changes do you have to make in yourself? And I don't think just as much externally, but I'm also thinking internally. That's why I talk about mindset a lot. What changes you got to make? You know what they are. And what you can do right now as you're thinking, things are starting to go in your head. You're either buying into what I say or your resistance is happening. I want you to open your mind and not let all the negative crap come in your head. I want to share you a book that I've told my clients to read. Some of you already know about it, but a really good book to read about change. The book is called Switch, Switch, written by Dan Heath. It's actually two brothers, Chip and Dan Heath, Heath. It's about changing and how hard change is, but you have to understand why you're not changing. You have to understand what's holding you back. Once you start to understand that, I don't have time today because, man, it's a subject that I love to talk about, but I will talk for a long time. And if you've coached with me in the past, you know I've mentioned it before. But I'm going to tell you right now, get the book, download it right now, start reading it because you're going to have to make some changes. And then you got to figure out some big questions and you got to, what do I need right now? You have to ask yourself, what do I need right now to help you get to the height you want in your business? Okay. So help you. So start writing down, what do you think you need right now? And then you got to figure out, okay, so if I need these things without spending a lot of money, then what tools do you need? What don't you have that you think you need? And I'm not talking about spending, go buy a whole nother IDX platform that's cost you $2,000. But I do think, and I'll give you my opinion down the road on this, is that eventually this is going to get so expensive that an agent coming in brand new is not going to be able to afford to do this because what's happening, all these Google AdWords and Facebook advertising is going to go up in price in 12 to 18 months, where just an average agent can afford it. I had a client in San Francisco that I was coaching for some time. He spent $6,000 a month for a platform. $6,000 a month. I mean, probably in another 18 to 24 months, that will probably be 10 or 12. Because big corporations have not jumped in on the Facebook advertising. They could say all these bad things about Facebook, but it is a great targeting tool. But it's not if you don't have the basics and you're not getting revenue coming in, I would not spend money on that till you start getting the basics and you get the right mindset to get your business going. That's major. See if there's any other questions. Don't forget, guys, if you have a question, something's bugging you, this is the time to ask. And if I don't have the answers, I'll find it and I'll email it to you. But after 33 years, I'm starting to see some patterns in people, in markets, in myself. So let's think about this. So one of the things I want to talk to you about that I know some of you are not doing, and if you are, fantastic. So now I'm going to give you what I think needs to be done. Ready? Hold on a second. Someone's saying something here. Let me just go with it. Question. Yeah. How do I get back from the rut? Just got back from having difficulty in trying to get back on the phones right now. That's so funny. Watch this. Here's the thing I'm going to ask you to do. Everybody, write this down. Immediately do this. And I didn't even know he was going to write this. Is get on the phones now. So and again, thanks for saying that. If you were in a boat and the boat was starting to sink, and you're saying, you know what, it's kind of difficult for me right now to start trying to swim because I haven't really swam in a long time, what will happen to you if you start thinking that way? You're right. You will drown. You will drown. So the sooner that you get on the phone and cut the crap that's in you guys' heads, I don't understand it sometimes. Listen, I don't like having to get up every day and get on the phone. I'll tell you right now, I'd rather do something else. But you know what? I look at my board and I see that 90% of my listings are FSBOs that I called, that I converted. Get on the phone now. But I'm going to tell you that some of you know that whatever it is mindset, yes. But if you work for a corporation, can you go into your boss and go, you know what? I just don't have the right mindset right now to work for you. I'm going to just sit here at my desk until I get my mind. What will happen? You'll be fired. You will be fired. Your boss is not going to wait for your mindset. You're sacrificing too much, guys. Your family, the things you want to do, some of the cash you have stashed in the bank, not enough cash that you don't have in the bank. So this is about maturing. And I have changed my approach with all my clients right now. And I'm going to tell you straight out, you guys got to just start thinking about how to change my mindset so I get on that phone and make the calls, because you're not allowed to do that in the corporate world. And this is why real estate is a totally different business. I don't understand what to call it, because we're allowed not to do the right things to help our families and ourselves make more money. We're allowed to fail without anybody helping us, but I'm not going to let you do that if you work with me or if you ask me questions. So get on the phone right now. So who do we have to call? Here's what I want you to do right now. Yeah, switch. The authors Chip and Dan. Yes, Chip and Dan Cat. Switch to SW. It's a big switch on the front of it. Download it. It's a great book. I like the hard copy because I like to write in it. Chip and Dan. I always want to say Chip and Dale because, you know, the cartoon, but it's Chip and Dan Heath, Heath. Okay, so am I getting to your heads right now? And I want you to do this as soon as you get done this webinar. And I want to see if you want to change. If you really want to make something happen, you would do this right after the phone or as soon as possible today. You need to call this 5 past clients per day. 5 past clients right now. And let me tell you why. Deepak goes, my head is a scary place to be. Yeah, a lot of people's heads. My head's scary. If I don't control it, everybody's head. That's why the book Switch is so good. All right, past clients, 5 per day. So here's what happened to one of my clients the other day. I finally got her to call for sale by owners, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And she finally started calling, and here's what she found out. She found someone in her list of for sale by owners and called them and went to the house and found out it was her past client. Her past client did not call her to say they were thinking about selling. The sad part about it is her past client ended up listing with someone else. And I asked, did you follow up? Well, I kept sending some stuff. And so watch this. A client, you have a suspect, then you have a prospect, and that prospect is going to date you. Give them some analogies here. And they're going to like you, okay? And if they like you through the dating process, they're going to get engaged with you, meaning they stay closer with you. Then they're going to marry you, meaning they bought from you, they sold from you because they like that process, right? And then if you don't talk to them ever, if you don't have a relationship with that married person, that client, they go and get divorced from you. So in this case, this client divorced her and they went with someone else because she was not calling her past clients. If you're doing it, congratulations. But you better get on that phone today if you want to survive through this market and have an insurance policy that this will not happen to you. You better be calling 5 of them per day. And if you don't have that many clients, then you're going to do this. You're going to add one person. Let me ask your permission about something real quick. If I run a little bit longer by about 10 minutes, would that be okay? Because I got a lot to cover. So if you're saying, if someone says okay, I will do that, or else I'll cut right at the half hour. That only gives me 15 minutes, but I wanted to give you everything. Okay, good. You got time. So add one person. Next thing we got to do, we do have to do this, guys. We do have to call for sale by owners and expires. That's how you're going to increase your listing inventory. I don't care if there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 that come out in 1 month. That can turn into one that you never had before. And that one check could be 10 grand or 15 grand in some markets. It could be 5 grand. It doesn't make any difference. It's relative. So get on that. If you need a service right now, listen, I hear this all the time. Well, this is better than that service. I don't even care. It's actually the cheapest thing you can buy right now that gives you the highest return. These services that give you for sale by owners and expires. If you got $30, I think LandVoice is giving my clients, and all these companies give my clients certain, but LandVoice, if you go to landvoice.com/path to pro, $30 for 30 days. I mean, but check it out. One deal pays for itself for 2 years. Someone just left because they didn't want to hear that. Oh, I hate for sale. I don't care. You're in a market that's shifting. Do that. And that's what she did. And she was able to find stuff out. The other thing is that when you do sell, you've got to start making some just listed, just sold calls. Make sure you have a just listed, just sold program that you're sending out to, either cards. They're inexpensive because what's happening is you want to engage other people in the marketplace. If you're ready to do that, fantastic. Back it up with a phone call. So if you're sending material out on listing, great. We just listed this house. You know what? I'm okay with even you just calling and not even knowing what the right script is, because the more that you get out into the public, you get into a dating phase. You're getting them to engage with you. We've got to have to be more visible on the phone, more visible physically right now when the market shifts. Remember, this is an insurance policy to the market. Now, I'm hoping that you understand that I'm sure other people might have said this, because I heard a trainer on Facebook who's a well-known trainer, coach, who I know has never sold real estate before, telling people, but we've known this for some time. And the other thing you have to have, as I said earlier on in the conversation today, you need to have evidence. You need to have evidence of what you're saying to your clients so they understand what's going on. So either it's this article, or you pull something out of Wall Street Journal, or start compiling evidence to back up your claims, meaning this is what's happening. So, I actually was prospecting for sale by owner. We started July 7th and we just listed yesterday. So she finally gave up. So your lead follow-up, your information that you're providing them really starts to sell who you are. You need to have a good way of bringing some curiosity to these people. And I tell you, my approach, if you know me for some time, is always reverse selling, not pushy, not being like a salesperson, but being more of a consultative approach, or being more of a consultant to the client. That's where you're going to win, because these scripts right now are terrible. They're not for the market. They're for selling something that has nothing to do with real estate. The higher the influence you have with people, the higher the authority that's perceived by the person you're speaking, the reduction of objections are there. You don't have as many objections because you presented such a case. I mean, really, if you have a brain tumor or you have a brain issue and Ben Carson says, do this, you got to question him? He's the expert in the world on these types of surgeries. So if you're the expert, if you're that person that's perceived to have the knowledge without being pushy, coming from this reverse selling technique, you're going to win. But start compiling evidence. The other thing that if you are low on leads right now is very important, and I know houses are selling quick, but I want you to do this. I want you to start doing 5 open houses in 1 month. I hate open houses. I understand that. If you have a team, your team needs to make sure that you got these people doing it. Why? Well, because if you have no more business happening, if you're concerned about the market, even if they're selling, try to get in there and get it. It's very important that we do it now. Start booking them, get it all together. And you know, the way to do it, and obviously for those that are in different companies, everybody has their little ways of doing it. But the key thing right now is that you have enough signs and you pick a house that's easy to be seen. And I'm going to give you a script right now. Here's a really easy open house script. Write this down. When someone walks in the door, hi, where do you live in the neighborhood? That's it. Hi, where do you live in the neighborhood? Because it catches people off guard. It's reverse selling because no one really is ready for that question. And so they'll end up telling you the truth in about a split second. Oh, we're from Chicago. We don't live here. Oh, we're from down the street. We just live around the block. And what information had you just found out information that you know? They're tire kickers or the real people. But here's what's interesting. Let's just say, and again, I want to get an average price. Let me write this down. So an average price in a market, let's just say it's 300,000. And I know in some markets it's more and some a little bit less, but let's say 300,000. And I know there's going to be commission splits that are different, but let's say gross commission dollars and 3% or 4% or whatever your percentage is. Let's hypothetically say that it's $9,000 commission. At a $9,000 commission on an average house. So you go to do an open house and you stand there for 3 hours, nothing happened first week. Next week, you do another open house, nothing happens. You've been there for 3 hours. Another week, you do it and nothing happens. It's 3 hours. And the last week, you do it and it's another 3 hours and you found one lead. Now you've put in 3, 6, 9, 12 hours into a sort of a program, right? And if you take that $9,000 lead that you picked up off of an open house, divided by the hours that you put into it, right? $9,000 divided by 12 is $750 per hour. Every hour that you stayed in that house that you hated it, nothing happened, but you found one lead in your open house campaign, you were at a rate per hour of $750 an hour. And we forget that. We go, oh, that sucks. I hate doing open houses. You're just sitting there, nothing's happening. You know, stick with it. Remember the first thing I said, consistency. Stay with it. Stay with it. I know in some markets, houses are still selling off. You can't keep them. I understand that, but you know, it's changing. 5 is a lot. Yep. Right. We're talking about, right. We're taking off. We're taking off. So there is some stress. There is some stress. And so when we have that stress, you've got to know how to fight through it because you're going to work a little bit harder. You're going to work more specifically. You've got a plan. And here's what happens sometimes if you don't have a plan and you work hard and you just digging without a real plan, this happens to you. You get burnout. I want you to fight through that burnout by having a plan. You got to fight through it because you could burn out, no doubt about it. If you just don't understand the big picture here, you go, oh my God, I got burned out. So how do we fight through burnout? Well, by fighting through burnout, no doubt about it, you have to have a schedule. You got to have a schedule. You got to have to plan things out. When you're going to do something, remember repetitiveness every day. You do certain things at the same time. Schedule it. Real estate has no bound. You can do whatever the heck you want any time of the day or night, and you have no consistency. But if you start to plan things out, like if you have kids, most of you have had kids. If you don't have kids, you have animals. And if you got to pick that person up or that animal up from the shelter or the wherever you keep your dog, your cat, or your kids to be picked up, if this says to pick them up at 3 o'clock every day, you're going to be there. It's amazing how everything works around that 3 o'clock and you're there. Why are you there? Because if you don't do that, you've left your loved one somewhere that you don't want to leave them all day because it's over at 3. But for whatever reason, when it comes to our business, we have no consistency. Yes, we've heard about time blocking, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I heard that. I read that before, Bill. All these people talk about it. We're in the shift. We're in the taking off stage. I was going to say flight, taking off stage. Now, here's one thing we want to do for burnout. So we do scheduling to help you. And then here's what we got to do next is that you got to schedule a day off to have fun, go somewhere, do something. So if we have a nice day off where you can forget things, and I know you're saying, well, Bill, there's really no way that I could take a day off because I've got stuff going on all the time. No, you can if you plan that and put it into the day. You may have to have someone take your calls. And I know some of you may have to take 2 half days, but schedule some time off. It feels real good. And you're now working smart through the next 3rd and 4th quarter, right? 3 and 4. We're coming up to the beginning of the 4th, and we got to get through this. So get a day off. Start to plan that because this is what's going to work for you. Now I'm going to stop just for a second. I'm going to ask the question. Kind of break into this so far. I just want to make sure things have absorbed, and I want to ask questions to you right now. So far, what has been valuable to you, for you personally? What has been valuable to you? What has been valuable to you that can help you? See, let me see what you said. All right, go down. The article. Just so someone said the article. Okay, so the article. Just go to, I tell you what, if you want the article, you can just email me. I'll give you my email at the end of this, and then I'll give you and I'll send it to you. That'd be great, okay? If you want the article, okay, that would be good. Okay, what else? Read the book and get on the freaking phone. Okay, thanks. Okay, what else? Wake up call on what's coming into town yeah, okay. Right. So it's a wake up call. Okay, great. I appreciate that. Hey, it's happening. Someone better tell you. Okay. Think about it. What's a wake up call for you? What's been the most valuable so far? Do you have a team? Do you got to start working with your team? Do you have to now start getting up early? Do you have to change your focus? Do you have to kind of see things a little bit different now? Think about it. It's funny how people drop off. So what you've got to write down is this. What are your first 3 actions that you need to take right now? So this is between you and you. What are the first 3 actions you have to take to be able to apply what we just talked about to protect yourself in a market shift? Now, the good news is, guys, remember that if it doesn't happen as deep, it doesn't make any difference. You win. So this is not a, oh my gosh, it didn't shift. I just screwed up. You're going to make more business. You're going to make more business. So let's see what he says. Call now to get ready for the 1st quarter next year. Great. You want to have a good Christmas? You better start today, not tomorrow, today. Get your systems down. Now, if you don't know what to do, and if you need a little bit more guidance on exactly what to do, here's what I'm thinking you should do. Okay, if you still are unclear, or you're a little nervous, or you still need a bump, all right, this is for people that are obviously not my clients. I think you need to do this. I think you've got to do what I call a market shift audit. You've got to really analyze yourself. Okay, the market shift audit. What do I need? What's going on? You've got to analyze yourself. You got to just stop for a second, sit down, and really analyze what's needed. And here's some of the questions. What is getting in your way? Determine what you can do to improve the results. Recommendations on where to find the best information. So what's interesting is that I will provide you an audit if you want. If you want the audit, I have that for you. Okay? You got to make a commitment, because I'm going to go over this with you. What's getting in the way? I'm going to determine you specifically what you got to improve on, and the recommendations of where to find it. Okay? So for me to do the audit for you, no doubt about it, for you being on the call, it is just for the webinar attendees who came on today. It's a great deal because there's no charge. Okay? It's free. And the guys that know me know that I'm, yes, I'm a coach. Yes, I would love for you to work with me, but I can't work with everybody. Okay? I can't work with everybody. Certain people that are just not ready to take on what it takes, and they might have to get another job, or they may just decide to live on a little bit. So if you're interested in having a market shift audit of what's going on in your business and what you got to do right now, I only have a limited schedule, so it's a first come first serve scenario, and I'm going to give you an email address for a couple things. One is for you to either get in my schedule to talk about it. Number two, if you can say, I want the article, I can send that article to you. Or three, to answer any of your questions. Okay? To answer any of your questions. Yeah. And you know what I'd say, Thomas, just get on the my schedule, and we'll talk about what I think would be the best for you. And again, I don't have a lot of time in my schedule, so the time I'm going to give you right now for you guys is about 30 minutes. Okay? So if you look at this down here, you can email me any questions, or just get into my schedule and take this down here below. Maybe I could type it in here. Is to be able to do this for you, is to just give it to you. So take this my.timetrade.com book 2GB BTC and just type that in and go ahead and just schedule. Go right into my schedule, and I'll give you all my times that are open, and you can just go ahead and find time. Okay, you can go right into my schedule. Can't figure out how to go in here and actually do this from my perspective. So here's all my stuff. Okay. Oh, that's great, Kat. So just go ahead and just go right into my schedule. Don't even wait, because I only have so much time left. So my.timetrade.com/book/2GBTC. And if that's too complicated, just email me at bc@path2pro, and I want to talk to you. Now from that, if I think I can help you, you decide what you want to do. You want me to help you? Do you don't need help, but I gave you some information, you can go on your own, whatever it may be. But just for you being on today, here's what I would suggest is just, you can get this, just for being on today. I appreciate it. The shocking truth about prospecting, if you dial 757-744-2041 and type in your email address and send, this will be downloaded to you. Okay? At least you should start somewhere. Because I believe right now with all my heart that this thing really needs to be done right for you. And the good news is, as you guys get into my schedule, we will have current information that we can provide. I'll get you more information on things that you may need specifically. Somebody might say, listen, I have problems with my team. Like the other day, I got to let go of someone in my team. What do I do? They're not working, whatever it may be. I will give you some advice, and you can decide whether or not I can help you. But we need to start the party now, okay? We got to start it. It's not going to be a problem if we have a plan. Same with me. I want to have a good time. All right. So I just want to say thanks for being on today. I appreciate the time. You've got that information. Just go ahead, write it down, copy it, whatever it may be. And let me see if I can send that to you. I think I can. Let's do this. What if I do that? No, I can't. So just go ahead, write it down, do what you got to do, and then I will respond to you as quickly as possible. It's first come, first serve. For 30 minutes, we'll talk about it. Get that if you can. We're going to start the party, because we're going to survive through this thing and really start taking market share from these people that are just lost. All right? So thanks for being in the Market Shift Insurance Policy Program. I want to expand on this with you. So I want to say thanks again for being on. Thanks for participating with me today. And I will talk to you soon enough. All right. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.